This is Spill the Tea, Episode 5. Today we are joined by Stella Brothers, who is the youth advisor of the Fannie Parker Youth Clubs based here in Edenton. She is a native of the area, having served the community in numerous roles over the years, including as the director of the Edenton Housing Authority and the director of the town's community block grant. She also worked for the school system for about 10 years, worked for the Chilliwack County Clerk of Court's office, the Employment Security Commission, and most recently, she retired from the Albemarle Commission's Northeast Workforce Development Board. She also serves on the town's Human Relations Commission, the Chamber of Commerce Board, and in numerous volunteer roles within the school system, the Board of Elections, the NAACP, and other organizations. Stella, welcome. Thanks for coming to join us.
Thank you.
So I wanted to talk about the youth clubs. I think this is a fantastic organization within the community. And as the youth advisor, I wanted to sort of start by asking you, how did this club come about? How old is it? And sort of what do y'all do?
Okay. Well, let me start off with, we're affiliated with the Fannie Parker Adult Club.
Yes.
We're under their jurisdiction. The club was started in 1945 under Miss Fannie A. Parker. And her goal it's always been a girls' club. Mm-hmm. But as the girls got older, they, branch out, become adults. Right. And so in 2017, I decided to reestablish the youth club. And I started off with the girls first. And then after we start with the girls, then in 2018, I started with the boys. So then we became, instead of Fannie Parker Boys and Girls Club, we are Fannie Parker Youth Clubs now. The goal is the young ladies and young men to carry out the legacy of the club into the next generation through self-awareness. Youth are being taught is not just about them. Mm-hmm. It's about everyone is expected to give back to the community in a positive way. The club also gives scholarships to the youth, and we also help to raise standards and quality of life in the home and the family. And one of our mottos is strong families make strong communities. And this is something we are trying to instill in our youth.
Yeah, and that's great. And I know that this club has really been involved in the community, sometimes more than some people may realize. You showed me the scrapbooks that they put together, pages and pages of, volunteering at cooking breakfast for the veterans, volunteering, with the animal shelter, or the food pantry, or for chamber events. They're out there, they're learning that community service. Mm-hmm. I also saw one that we just spoke about during the pandemic. Tell me a little bit about what they did to help all those families during the pandemic.
During the pandemic, like the veterans, mm-hmm. we didn't meet because of the pandemic.
Right.
So what we did was each youth chose a veteran of their choice. They either went to the home and deliver a gift, or take them out for a meal, right. Or they drew a picture, a card, but they would come back and report what they did for each veteran during the pandemic. Also, the pandemic, we still serve the animal shelter. We volunteer with the pumpkin at the Historic Society because we volunteer with them also. We still did our competitions, mm-hmm. but we did them at the clubhouse on Zoom. Part of that competition was scrapbooks, oratorical, praise dancing. We have a male chorus. So it's different categories mm-hmm. that we work. Even though the pandemic, we still done our regular things. Yeah. We didn't let the pandemic stop us, but we did practice safe with the mask, hand sanitizer. But other than that, we continue. We had volunteers that come in to help us with. Whenever we do a scrapbook, we got volunteers come in to help. Mm-hmm. When we do our sewing projects, we have different ladies from the community come in because they taught them how to weave, crochet, making quilts. The young men, cardboard projects. We designed the Fannie Parker Clubhouse. Mm-hmm. Now that we are involved with the Harriet Jacob Project through the Historic Society with Miss Michelle Lanier, they designed the Harriet Jacob House, where she was in the ceiling for 7-8 years. Yeah. They designed that, even have her in the upstairs, the bed, the whole 9 yards of that project.
That's significant. I've heard a lot of things about that project as it's been sort of unfolding, sort of behind the scenes, and I'm sure once they reveal everything to the public, it's going to be extraordinary. Mm-hmm. And you did mention during the pandemic, the masks and everything, and I remember reading in the newspaper at one point that they had helped supply PPE to families that had pulled up. And do you remember how many they may have supplied at that time?
We served 1,200 families.
Wow. That's impactful because I know Edenton only has but so many people, so 1,200 is a large portion of the community.
And we know that some was from other counties.
Right.
Because it was advertised.
Yeah.
We had over 40-some volunteers. People came to pick up their supplies, and they stayed and helped us. So we got to give credit, to the community, police department. They really helped with the traffic, the town of Edenton with the blocking off the street with the permits. So everyone was very helpful, the community project. Speaking
on the volunteers, who kind of comes out and helps with the youth clubs? Because I'm sure you have some volunteers that come out and help. How impactful is that relationship between the kids and those volunteers? Are they sort of like mentor figures to them?
Yes, they are. When I first started the boys club, we had male mentors to come in. They would help them with projects because we were sewing, teaching the boys how to sew on a button. So with the male volunteers, they got a chance to work one-on-one with them.
It's wonderful.
With the button project. And then we have several people, several ladies come in to help us with those projects. And then we just had some ladies to come in. We have our parents. The parents are number one. They comes in, they help with the meetings. The parents help with the volunteering. When we feed the veterans, there are our cooks. Yeah. We have one special lady that her child has officially successfully completed the program in college, but her mother comes back and be the head of the kitchen every year for the veterans.
That's great. So they really, they come back and they give back.
They give back.
Yeah, and that's what it's about. And why is it, especially in this day and age, why is it so important to continue to focus on and to help our youth, grow with the civic service and the volunteerism? Why is it so important that this program exists?
Our kids are hungry. Our kids need love. Our kids need respect. They need to learn to respect in order to receive respect. And giving back to the community, they see the need in our community. We have a rap session at every meeting. What goes on and been said in our meeting stays in the meeting. You get to hear what the kids are saying, and you want to go out and help. Right. And that's why I volunteer, because I see the need through talking to the youth. They let us know what the needs are. Speaking about needs, not just from the youth, but Edenton in general, what are some of the issues or the needs that you're seeing in the community, maybe not just through the club, but through some of your other outreach in the community as well? What are some of those needs that you think are out there right now in the community? My vision, or what I see need, is the lives of our African Americans, family and community, just as a whole. We need more education. We need more advancing the moral, the economic, social, and spiritual welfare of our youth. Right. We are lacking. Our kids just need guidance. Right. And we really need to get back to working with the youth. And we have the people working with the youth, but it's still something is missing. And I feel like when the chief and with the human relation, we do this, what we call the call-in, I really believe that program is going to work. Yeah. That's a positive thing we saw at the very first one. Yeah. So I feel like with all of us unity together, human relationship is trying to bring all the organizations together under one roof. We've done that once, but we need to go back and kind of touch base. Yeah. And bring them back together. Yeah. And I think that with everybody on one page, unity, it can work. Now, I know you mentioned, giving the youth guidance and making sure that they have that guidance. And I think that's why, and you may agree, these mentors are so important. Having those role models there that these kids can look up to, especially, if they may not have one, and they can come to this club, this program, and be surrounded by all this positive influence. Yes. I think that is absolutely critical. Yes. And so I praise what the club is doing. I love what you guys are doing, and I hope more people become more aware of it. Actually, recently, someone fairly high profile did become aware of it. I heard that Congressman Davis had, I don't know if he visited with the group, but he did give an acknowledgement to the group. Is that right? His Chris Hardy is one of the guys that's working with Congressman Davis. Right. That's a testament, that these programs are doing something for these kids, that they're making a difference in the community. And the scrapbooks, and I know we talked about it just briefly in the beginning. Tell me just a little bit more about the scrapbooks and how the kids are involved with making them, and why it's so rewarding to see those made. Our scrapbook is part of our competition. We have the local level, which is Fannie Parker. Then we have the district level, Northeastern District, and then we have the North Carolina State Federation. Mm-hmm. We have Southeastern Regional and National. These strap books are going all the way. Yeah. They are, you have judges on every level that go through these strap books. The kids is aware of what needs to go in these strap books. Whenever I might miss a picture, the youth or the parents is taking a picture of the activities in order to go in the strap book. So when we sit down, put these strap books together, a child might say, "Oh, my picture's missing," but you know they're involved. So they are very aware of the strap books. They know their competition, and we just have this as proof or evidence. This is what we're doing. We're not just doing this. We're not just saying what we're doing, but we have proof.
That's right. And the judges are seeing that as well. So so people across the state are seeing what we're doing in Edenton.
Yes. Yes.
Is there like a national group at this level?
Yes. Our national headquarters in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
So national will be this July, 2024.
Yeah.
Local, district, and state is every year. Regional is the odd years, and national is the even years. Yeah. So these books goes all the way up.
So what we're doing here in Edenton with these kids could be seen as far up as Washington, D.C.
That's correct.
And see, that's wonderful, knowing that, we're making that impact, and then those kids could probably feel the reward of knowing that, the fruit of their efforts is being seen.
That's correct.
All the way in the nation's capital.
That's correct.
Yeah, because
that's there is a club, a federation club in every state. Mm-hmm. So we are in competition with all the states.
And all of these clubs, they go by the same, when they're in the competitions, they sort of use the same guidelines, the National Association of Youth Clubs, I see. Okay, so they have a handbook. Mm-hmm. And I guess during the competition, they have the same sort of competitive categories. I know you mentioned dance, oratorical. Mm-hmm. What are some of the, if whoever asks them to perform these things, what are some of the, I guess the challenges or the tasks that they're required to do in those categories?
What they usually do is based on age.
Okay.
Because we have petite with age 5 to 8, preteen 9 to 12, teen 13 to 18.
Okay.
So when they come in the club and be interviewed, we have to put them in one of these categories. Mm-hmm. And they will be in competition with their age. And what we do is these kids are taught, this is something we do at every meeting. Mm-hmm. You are being prepared for competition.
Right.
So like in talent, you got oratorical, like I said earlier, PowerPoint presentation, website, Frederick Douglass essay, Pen and Queen Brigade, fashion design, arts and crafts, strap book, hat and umbrella parade. These are some of the activities.
Now, when you had mentioned like a website or a PowerPoint, are they free to sort of create one to their heart's desire, or is there like a certain area they have to go down, or they're free to do whatever?
It's a freelance, but sometimes they'll put a theme.
Okay.
And it's up to the child to do the theme or either create their own. So we pretty much create our own.
And then the judge is sort of based on the one that's the best put together, the one that's the nicest presentation. Okay, I understand.
And it's based on neatness, time frame.
Right.
Everything has a time, because even with our dance, it has to be a time.
Mm-hmm. And I know competing in these competitions and volunteering in the community may just seem like pieces of the greater puzzle. What are some of the most or the more rewarding things that you remember, or some of your favorite things that you can recall being involved, with these kids over the years?
My experience pretty much is seeing the growth. Like I can take up to the age of 6 years old.
Yeah.
But I do 9 to 18 or 9 to 17. And the reason I do that, but because as the need for the community, it's probably going to go to the age of 6 to 8.
Yeah.
Because we need that younger generation. Because the youth that I have now started out with me ever since 2017. Mm-hmm. So I see the growth in these youth.
The years.
Mm-hmm. So just to look at the success stories so far, like Chastity Pate, she was the first president when we started in 2017, 3 years at UNC Chapel Hill.
Wow.
These are things that I see. Then the next, she graduated successfully. The next 3 out of the program successfully, Jacasia, Starisha, and Trayvon. These are East Carolina, Liberty City State University. Now we have 4 that's in college now.
Yep.
That was successfully completed the program. Amira, Janaya, Leah, and Kai. We're looking at in North Carolina Central. We're looking at East Carolina, and we're looking at A&T University. Now we have 2 seniors, Chevelle and Cade.
Yeah.
There's 18 members on the road now.
Now, if any member of the youth or parent in the community sees what you're doing and they want their child to join, how should they get up with you? How should they go through that process? They
will contact myself. They can contact by my telephone number. That's area code 252-333-6410. Or if they see any of the club members, approach one of the adult members or a youth.
Yeah.
Most successful is when a youth tell another youth.
Yeah.
And that's how they makes contact
the
parents. When we interview, we have an application. We interview the child and the parent, where we sign a contract that they agree to help us. And that's how I believe that's how successful the program is, because of the parent involvement.
And I wanted to kind of wrap up by asking, we talk a lot about, the family in the community and keeping the family involved. You told me before we started that you're from a family of 12. You have 11 siblings.
That's correct.
What have you taken away? What have you learned from growing up in a large family that you think you've been able to translate or impart onto these kids that you're with?
First of all, I grew up in a house with a mom and a dad. Church affiliation, how to treat each other, because we wasn't allowed to fuss in the house. And mom and dad, if there was a conflict, we didn't know it. And I see nowadays where parents are just doing things in front of children that I would say unacceptable.
Right.
And that's how I feel like the standards from my mom and dad and my sisters and brothers, that's how I feel like I can give back to the youth of the way I was raised.
Yeah.
Sometimes, people say old school, but there's a way of still being old school and being flexible with change.
That's something that we could all probably take something from in this day and age. And as always, we appreciate the work that the club does. I hope more people will learn about it and see these success stories, and I hope we do well this year in the competitions. I'm pretty confident. We got some great kids here in Edenton.
Yes, we do.
And I'm very confident in them. But Stella, as always, it's lovely to speak with you. Thank you for coming on. Keep up this amazing work. I look forward to seeing more of it in the community. But again, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for asking me to come.
This is Spill the Tea, Episode 5. I'm your host, Tyler Newman, signing off.